Well, this was a week, guys. This was not a fun week, but it was a week. Oh. Yeah, there's way too much work going on. Way too much work. My manager comes back, not this next week, but the week after. So, looking forward to that conversation. And then we're in October, so we're gonna get to the 25th. It's gonna happen. Yeah, I'm gonna tell my manager I don't care if this girl has come back. I'm not doing her job anymore. So, hi, Ragdoll. So, yeah, it's hi. This week is less. Well, we have started a new week. Hi, Kimbers. Hi, Jamie. Hi, Joanne. Happy Sunday. So, yeah, it's just 2 jobs at one time is just not really something I can do. Amanda, I see you can't join today, but I also hope you have a good week. Hoping this week will be better. Can they split the work between employees so one person wasn't taking on too much? Now, don't go talking logic. I suggested that actually when they voluntold me I was doing it, but didn't quite win that battle. So, hi, Lena. Yeah, that's the other thing. I'm not paid to do it. It's very annoying. So, let's talk about happy things. Hi, Jamie. I hate when to. Hi, Andrea. Hi, Levon. Let's get into book things. Hi, Solukia. Since I wasn't able to update this week, I'm thinking I will give some things away in this live. So, just a little fun thing for you guys. So, come with your questions, and I'll see what I can say and what I cannot say, and what hints I can give. Because obviously, we were supposed to be further in the book by today. So, hit me with your questions. I'll let you know if it's one I can answer. I do plan to answer more than normal today and give hints away more than I normally do. So, how many ribbon novels do you have lined up? Oh gosh, I'd have to count. It's somewhere in the 20s. Somewhere in the 20s. There's a lot of them. Hold on. I can count. That's not the right note. This is the right note. Okay. So we have, okay, let's see. 1. Well, there's all the kids. So we're on the 3rd one of the kids. So, I have all of their outlines. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. So I have 32 outlines plus the 17 other kids. So, happy or not, I started writing an adaptation of My Mother's Life. Well, the outline anyway. Congratulations, Layla. How many chapters till we catch up Cassie's book? Oh gosh, I don't know how to answer that question. I would if I could. I don't know, because obviously once they separate, Melanie's got a lot going on. We kind of mentioned it last time, but first, she saved. We got to find out what happened. She saves Kai first. Well, she saves Jason, Theo, and oh gosh, I'll have to look at my outline. 2 other people in the mall first. Then she saves Kai, And then we know she gets hurt and punished, but we don't know why. So we got to find that out. And then in that same arc of Melanie's that she's done those 3 things. She talks to a god and a couple goddesses while she's out, and then she wakes up and goes to save Elise. Then she ends up in Lexi. Well, it's not Lexi, it's Emmett and Alexandria's territory at that point. But Lexi and Chase's for everybody's remembering who everybody is sakes. Ends up in Lexi and Chase's territory with Lise. Gets out, goes to save Ben McAllister and Nick Kyle. And then we've got some missing time. And then she also has to fight Sierra's dad so that she can go be with Phil. And then she has to save Angela. And then obviously when we catch up with where Cassie's book is what happens in between saving Angela. Because obviously she does talk to Angela. And then, when all the group is coming to try to help her. So there's a lot of things going down in a chapter. So I really don't know how long it is before we catch up to there. I don't know if that's going to have to be split into multiple parts. We'll just have to see whenever, I get to write that, because it's going to be awesome. And I'm really excited about that because that's a lot of big things to happen. Like Alexander's side is just completely boring compared to all the things she did. He goes off on a mission. Oh, and that's, I kind of hinted at this before, but they see each other in between the mall and saving Kai. So we get Alexander and Melanie together because she calls him for help. So they are together for a minute after that. How many kids go into the ribbon? 2. Hi, Cassandra. Hi, Cassandra. Hi, Kimbers. Is Freya's mark changing with the lunar cycle? No, it is not. Where did... Okay, Sammy, it's worth the wait. Thank you, Sammy. Sorry, work has been so awful. Me too. I'm ready for that to be over. Marnie. Hi, Marnie. Did Alexander share his light a second time before she marked him, and did he not realize it? No, he has not done that yet. As we know from his side, he intends to. So he does intend to share his light, and he will. They will. So he's already shared it once, but he intends to share it twice so that they will be twice light bound. He's a bit more in touch with his fairy side than Cassie and EJ are because he's a healer. It's still not the side that he most leans towards. He's kind of a true hybrid in the sense of it. Whereas he most leans towards Swift, but it's just a pretty good percentage for all of it with him because he is a healer, so he's in tune with his fairy side as well as his wolf. And then there's obviously he's a great fighter, so his Sakura and wolf sides kind of combined. So he is a very good blend of the 3 sides of himself. So for him, it's not going to be like EJ and Cassie both would have been twice light bound with their mates, like that. It's just, they're not so in touch with their fairy sides like Alexander is. Is Nathan going to get a second chance mate anytime soon? Love the Cassandra outtake this morning. Soon is a relative term. At this point, he's not ready for one. They live for centuries, so is he going to get one? Okay, I've been kind of hemming and hawing around this, and I've just basically implied that he was going to get one, but I will tell you today, he's going to get one soon. He's not ready. There were other reasons Cassandra had to go, so... And the reasons are not his second chance mate. That's not why. But, okay. What else we got? But yeah, I thought the outtake for today with Cassandra, I always find that interesting because honestly, with both of them, you have 2 hypocritical people who both can recognize the hypocrisy in the other, but not so much in themselves. Whereas the moon goddess is like, oh, I let this go too long. It's like, well, you're letting way too many things go too long. Admitting one thing is really not, the pinnacle to, you can't really sit on a high horse with Cassandra, and Cassandra can't sit on a high horse with her, but they can point out things to each other where they're not realizing things. And obviously Celine's reaction was to walk away from the argument. And, to Cassandra's flaws, she drives people away, and now she's kind of left alone with her thoughts in a place with not so great people. So I do think it is interesting. But I've always found that interesting about people who are kind of like holier than thou. They can always spot the problem with the other holier than thou person, but they can't really see it in themselves. I think I find that interesting with people. Will we find out why Cassandra had to die in this book? It will be hinted at very strongly at the end of this book, but will we find out in this book? Find out is such a strong word. Will it be hinted at strongly? Yes. Will we officially find out in this book? No. Was her original death supposed to be when Haley was taken? No. Her original death was supposed to be after the twins were born. So she's been kept around because the moon goddess wanted her to get it together. So after Max and Wesley, sorry, there's dust on me, I'm trying to get it off. So after Max and Wesley were born, she was supposed to die, and the moon goddess has been interfering since then, hoping that, the relationships with everybody, because they weren't supposed to be the way that they were. And that's not, there were options for them not to be that way. Obviously the moon goddess knows Cassandra and knows the path she was going to take, but as she said, she hoped that she would pick a different one, and she didn't, and it just got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, and it probably would have been better for death to come when he was supposed to. But didn't. So there we are with that. And that will have consequences for somebody who shouldn't have got them, but we'll find that out too. I have been reading Emmeline's book, and I'm to the part where the warlock took her through the hollow port. The note... Hold on. The question cuts off. That's very helpful. Okay. The note in Lucas's handwriting, was that a spell as in the same letters to Melanie, or a person that has a skill like Veronica has? It's a spell. It is a spell. So not a lot of people can imitate handwriting perfectly. That's kind of a talent that Veronica has, but there are warlocks powerful enough to do it. Are the Luna and Beta female of Black Path going to get second chance mates? We'll find out. We know that Sierra believes her mother deserves one. I think from the few scenes we've gotten of the Luna of Black Path, I feel like you kind of know she does, because now we've got a little bit more information. We know there's an Alpha Command plus something going on with why they're not interfering with a lot of things. So it's really not their fault, and they do what they can to fight that. So, Hi, Kristen. I am feeling much less tired today. I always work when you're doing questions, so I'll write on here and check the video out later. Will we find out if Nathan gets a second chance mate? He is going to get one, not in this book. Will we find out more about him? Well, right now he's in Hawaii. Nathan is in Hawaii right now. He's not around. Keep that in mind. Nathan is not around right now. He's in Hawaii. He's still there. We saw that. I think we saw that in AJ's book or in Cassie's. In one of them, it was mentioned he is in Hawaii with a different pack on vacation, kind of, letting himself get back to normal. That is important. Because the moon goddess said he had a path. He does have a path. Also, we find out more about Cassandra's backstory and family and what happened with the fairy trap. If somebody requests that, Yeah, but basically what happened with her family was they wanted to, it's her aunt and uncle, and it's her mom's sister. So her uncle was an alpha, and he just wanted to be more powerful because they were a smaller pack. So they kind of wanted to be blessed. They had a charm that made people want to be around them. But it doesn't make people like you, like Claudia and Eric. It didn't make Eric like Claudia. It just made him protective of her. It wasn't necessarily that he liked her. Because you can tell in his dealings with her, like, he's protective of her, but like when she came around, he was like trying to get away from her as fast as he could. It's not that they liked them, so there was a bit of a problem with that, and they became a bit addicted to the fact that people wanted to be around them. So it's yeah, that's what's going on with her family. Okay, let's see. Okay. Is the reason Sierra can't tell Bill and Alexander because of loyalty and a promise not Chuck or an Alpha command, and she physically can't? At the moment, she physically can't. So once Melanie fights her dad and she is free to leave Black Path to go be with Phil, she could tell them. Will there be a second chance? Will one of there be a second chance mate for Nathan McDermott? No. I think it was Nathan's mate that died. It was. Emmeline said he had a second chance mate out there. He does. Things happen around the same time. Emmeline doesn't exactly get, like, she just felt it was going to happen soon. Soon doesn't necessarily mean like next week. It could be like a few years. But his second chance mate is important to specific characters that we are close to in the books. So, okay. I think I have caught up. I think I have answered the questions. Maybe not. See, it keeps normally I get a notification, but it just keeps telling me I get an email, and normally it would pop up. Being very annoying today. That makes sense. She is a very loyal friend. No questions from me. Just gonna sit back and enjoy. Yeah, Sierra is a very loyal friend. Melanie has the loyalty of most people she meets. We're gonna see that come through a lot. There will be people coming to Black Path and EJ, and they don't want to talk to EJ or Alexander or even Eric, and they're like, "Why are you here?" And Melanie pops up and she's like, "Because they found out I was here," and they're just like, "What the heck is going on?" So there's a lot of things that she knows, and a lot of people that look up to her, and there's a lot of people that are a part of a lot of things that that are kind of in those forgotten packs, in those packs that they have people standing up for what's right. And there's there's an important person that got out. We have not mentioned her by name, but there is an important person that got sent to the Connors pack that is going to be that's important to somebody. That is how Melanie gained somebody's trust, was getting this person out and into a safe pack. So, will Melanie and Elise be able to be super close again? Not right away. No, there's a lot of hurt and a lot of hurt there. And I mean, obviously they're still communicating. Melanie still wants to communicate with her. She's communicating with her as Ashley. There's a lack of understanding on Elise's part of why she just didn't tell her that it was her. So they've got some stuff to talk about. They don't have as hard a path as pretty much everybody from Red Run has with Melanie, because Elise still did reach out. She still did talk to Ashley. And Melanie didn't know what she knew. She kind of just didn't want to rock the boat of Elisa's life if she didn't know something, because if she didn't know, Melanie finds it hard to believe that had this truly been orchestrated by Red Run, EJ would have had to know something. So for Melanie, it was part of, not blowing up Elisa's life, not letting her find out all the people that she loves, knew something and didn't tell her. And then there's kind of also the fear of whether or not she does know. And she's communicating with her in the way that she can. Now, all the questions to meet and even EJ's request to meet confused her, because it wouldn't make sense if EJ knew for him to reach out personally to try to get them to meet. So they have an uphill battle there with a little bit of trust, but it's not like the battle the McAllisters and the rest of the Kyles are going to face with Melanie. So let me know if that makes sense. I wonder what causes the obsessive tendencies compared to loyalty. So we'll find out. We will find out the answer to that. But some of it is in the personality of who is involved. So a lot of the people that seem to be obsessed with her don't really seem to be like good people. But the people that want to follow her are good people. It's not necessarily that they don't like her. Dax feels a brotherly bond with her. Same with Kane. They feel a brotherly bond, and Buck and her, he doesn't have loyalty for her, but he's also not like crazy obsessed with her. So they have definite animosity between them. But she is a natural born leader, and people do want to follow her that have, like Sierra said, Melanie gives a good speech, and we'll see some of those coming up. Really excited for a couple of them. There's one she gives in a fight. Like, she's jealous that everybody to stop fighting, and she gives a very impassioned speech to the people fighting against the Connors and herself, and and Alpha Theo. He's also involved in the fight, so Lux is there too. She gives a very impassioned speech to them and kind of turns around the whole thing. And then there's somebody from a pack that comes in wanting to get in with EJ, and they send in a girl to flirt with EJ, and she gives a classic Melanie speech about it, and it's pretty funny. And Haley's just in the corner, like. So, she can give a speech. The girl can give a speech. So there is a natural tendency for people to want to follow her. I lied. Will we find more about Odette in this book? Sorry if I spelled her name wrong. Yes and no. Not till the very yes and no. Mostly no, a little bit of yes. I'm sure that clears it right up for you. But yeah, that's where we're going with that. Will Melanie's friends come to live at Black Mountain Pack with her, referring to her friends in the Resistance? Well, not necessarily that bad. Kane and Dax can't. They're going to take over Black Path. So they're going to still live in Nashville and kind of turn around that pack. Sierra's obviously going, and we'll see where the rest of them end up and why. So will we get to see if Robert's Omega is in on everything? Yes, we will get that answer. We will get that answer. Also, Kristen, it's fine if you come up with a question you can ask. No need to apologize. But yes, we will find out if Robert's girlfriend is in on that. Or if there are other things going on with her that maybe we should have paid closer attention to. Because it's weird that at this point, she hasn't wanted to go find her mate. So I'll put it that way. I feel a mate for Jason in the future. We will see Jason find his mate at a certain point in this book. Do we see Haley go Mama Hercura on everyone? Haley herself is gonna give a speech here at a certain point because she gets she gets all this information and she's a little upset. Because obviously we've started with no one told her about the headaches, and obviously she knew how to fix it. When other things come out, she gets upset about that. So it's just kind of like mounting for her right now. It's mounting for her, all this stuff. And then finding out that Alexander has always thought Melanie was his and that nobody wanted her help in getting them together. Like her and Emmeline could have fixed this easily. So, that's, another thorn in the side. And then, she finds out some other things. And she just kind of like loses it on a few because everybody's, Red Run, Yellow Hills, and Black Mountain are all together trying to, talk through things. And she does get mad, and she does, she does go a little Haley. And then obviously, and then she finds out about the whole Claire thing. And that doesn't go over well either because they've all known this whole time that she's kind of a flight risk, and people just start telling her, and she kind of feels like she feels a little like they're taking advantage of how she feels they can come to her instead of her digging for it. And so she kind of gives them ultimately you start telling me important things like this, or I start digging, and none of you want that. She's like, because I won't stop until I find out all the answers. So she kind of gives everybody an ultimatum. Like, I live this way. That's how I live my life. And you're making me call that into question and making me wonder if I've been a bad mom, been a bad mate, been a bad ally. She's like, so cut it out. She's like, or I'm going to find out everything. I'm going to find out all the secrets. And she could, because she could just go ask either one of her brothers. So she could go ask Aiden. Aiden knows a lot, and he would find it very entertaining to tell her. She could go ask Bjorn, and anything Bjorn hasn't been told not to tell her in confidence, he would tell her. So, I mean, she has sources. She could easily find out information. So we do see a little of that. And then obviously we got to deal with Claire, and she's not nice to Claire because she's angry at a lot of people, and there's a clear person for her to take this out on. So it's not good for Claire. But Claire made choices. So do we find out who faked being Drake to Eric? Yes. Will we find out when Claire got the item used to hurt Melanie? She didn't get anything to hurt Melanie, but she got it after she got kicked out of the birthday. It's not really important when she got it, but yes, because Cassie and Haley want to know that answer. So, why are the wolves tight-lipped about Freya? Has Freya asked them not to, or is it something else? The wolves are tight-lipped about Freya because they've been waiting for her for a long time, and a lot of wolves didn't think she was coming. So they're excited to a degree, and they're willing to do what she thinks is best, and as well as Melanie herself. So they don't know the full situation because Freya and Melanie just met. So they're not trying to mess up the human-wolf dynamic that they've got going on. To a degree, Freya understands Melanie's logic and her reasoning because she has access to her memories. So she knows that she's got some trust issues and they need to trust each other. So she doesn't really want to rock that boat. So it is a little bit of her using her name to get some wolves to agree to what she wants. Is that the best way to do it? Don't know, but that's what she did. So, okay. Is Freya as mad at Selene as Melanie is? Is she as mad as Melanie? No, not as mad, not yet. She is mad. And that's really big for her to be mad. But in that chapter where, 15 big things go on with Melanie, and she does have that chat with some goddesses and a god. Celane's responses make Freya even more upset than she was, because she could have stopped it. And she should have. And having Melanie's memories, and she's been waiting for Freya's kind of been waiting for the perfect human for her to be paired with. And she has access to Melanie's memory, so she knows what she's done. She knows that she is not just she doesn't stop where she is. Obviously, we know she started the resistance. We also know that we'll find out why she's supposed to be in the Hunters, but it's obviously not what she's doing. She's saving people and sending them to allies. But also, as Sierra mentioned, she is the champion of the Forgotten Pacts, of the neglected pacts. And it's not just in Nashville. She's friends with a demon and a witch. They can get around however much they want. So it is all over the country. She is inspiring people to fight back and to be kind of a network of basically like an underground werewolf system that she's got going on. So to Freya, this girl who she was hidden from, she had her wolf hidden from her, but she still fought back. She had all this adversity in her life, and she still fought back in a big way. So to Freya, it's not the answers she gets from a goddess are not good enough, because you have this girl who's been fighting since she was 14. Ever since she found out about the injustices, she's been fighting, and you have a goddess who has turned a blind eye, and that does upset her. So at this moment, she's not as upset as Melanie, but she gets there. Is the chat going to be like Haley's chat with Azoni? If you mean like the one in Raised to Cura, I would scale that up to about a 10. She's Melanie wasn't raised to be a princess. Melanie was not raised to trying to think of the right word, was not raised to, have this sense of decorum and whatever. She says what she wants to say. She doesn't have that, poise and grace that a princess does. She's mad, and she's not going to hold back in why she's mad. So, Haley was like, I'm not your mop. Get it together. But Melanie's is a lot more angry. So, because Ribbon, that's a Raised to Cura Haley, and she's just seen it in the Ribbon. Melanie has lived it, and she also wasn't as sheltered as Haley was even in Foray, because for Haley, our original one, she didn't know how deep and expansive the ring was, whereas Melanie has seen like the underbelly of it all, and she has seen where it is. So she is a lot angrier. So I would just dial that, like what you thought Haley like went at Azoni for, and dial it up to like a 10. So, okay. Can the kids of Haley, Aiden, and Arion be called on for protection by fairies as part of the royal family also? Yes. Yes, people can call on them for protection. They do have to be fairies. They have to have fairy blood to call on the fairy family for protection, but anybody in the royal family can be called on for protection. That's Haley or Aiden's children. It would have been Arian's. Arian does have children, so they could be called too. If he had lived to have more, it would be them too, but he has the 2. So he has a son and a daughter. They can be called as well. Do we hear what was in the note for Haley from Alania? Is it relevant? That is meant to be an outtake, and I believe that someone has requested it for October. I'm a little behind on getting on my notes. I have seen that I have them. I will get to you, I promise. But I think somebody requested her going to the Beyond to confront Alania about it. So obviously in that we will find out what she said. But I mean, the gist of it is she played a hand in them getting Angela. So it's kind of like I told you wouldn't be able to protect her kind of a thing. But she's wrong. So that's the thing. I've seen a lot of people thinking that Alania cares about Melanie. She doesn't. She only focused so much on specific paths. So she doesn't know a lot about Melanie. She knows that she suffers. But if she had seen a path where she's obviously, she set up this long before Angela was born, long before her death. So she set things in motion for Angela when the triplets, probably even before the triplets were born, when Haley was pregnant with the first set, in case, because she had it set up to where when Haley found out she was supposed to run. So she had all these, plans in place for paths and stuff. So most of her motivation is Angela. So she had this set up long before then. And if she had known that Melanie was in the way of this path that she'd set up, she would have given much more specific details about how to keep Melanie safe. As far as she knows, Melanie is just a wolf mated to Alexander. That's what she knows, who has suffered. If she knew that she was a danger to a plot that she had set up for Angela, she would have been a lot more specific about how to help her, because she wouldn't have wanted anything to interfere with that. Okay. I think I'm caught up on the questions, guys. It's always like a proud moment before more come in. I'm like, ooh, I'm caught up. Okay. But yeah, Alania doesn't really care about Melanie. She should have. She should have looked further into Melanie's life, but she didn't care. To be blunt, she didn't care. Because that wasn't who she was focused on and who she wanted to actually not be around. Who she wants to not be around is Angela, and that's another kind of fault of hers, because, I mean, when you think about it, and she should have, like, she's helping people. She helped them take her with the intent that they would kill her. But if you're the Ring and you have a super powerful fairy who can see future paths, are you going to kill her? No, you're going to try to use her. So her whole plan basically was to make sure that Angela didn't get a name as, the strongest, or the fairy with the strongest sight. But she gave her to a group of people that just wanted to use her for that, and she still would have gotten that. So her entire motivation is wrong and dumb, because she can't think 5 seconds outside of herself, which is an epic Melanie speech we get about people like that, where it's like, you're so centered on yourself and you're so focused on yourself that you can't look and see that there are other people in this world. So that Melanie speech, guys, I really like it. I really like it when this pack comes wanting an alliance with Black Mountain and flirts with EJ. It's really funny because she knows this girl. And she knows the alpha that's coming. And it's a bit of, there are some people on her side in this pack that the alpha has no idea of, and even the squirrel doesn't. So when Melanie tells her and kind of, snaps and get in her face and is like, be who you're supposed to be, not some puppet of somebody. Because she tells her, like, oh, guys, it's really funny. I really can't wait to get there in the book because it's such a good speech. And I think it's, it's a good speech. So, okay, we're going to get there. And I'm really excited. I'm really excited about several of the speeches she gives, because she does inspire people, and it's fun. So sorry if I should know this. What other powers Angela have? Has she any defensive powers? Is she trained to protect herself? I don't feel like they keep her. She is still a Hakura. She's still very talented at fighting. Her biggest power is her sight. She can call the wind, and for fairy powers, it's sight, and she can call the wind, and she can grow some plants, and she's got some earth powers and stuff. But really, the big one for her is she's got sight. So, but she still is Hakura. She still knows how to fight. The smile on your face talking about all this infection is so great to see you relaxed. Thank you. I really do like this book and this outline. It's a lot of fun, and kind of there's just so much to get through, because even like once Alexander and Melanie are together, like there's obviously they know a lot of things about her, and they want answers to those things, but now they have a massive roadblock. And well, they have two. One being Melanie herself, and the fact that she's not totally sure who to trust other than Alexander and her friends, and the network that she's built herself. So she wants to trust people, but she's just not sure, like after everything, and after she finds out the truth of everything, she kind of, and we'll see her kind of create a plan with Cassie to prove to Black Mountain that they can't really rush this, and that they should be more understanding. So we see that her and Cassie bond over that. Caden's like, I hear nothing, I see nothing, I don't know what's happening, I'm not going to answer anybody's questions about this. But yeah, she sets up this whole thing with Cassie to kind of prove her point about why she shouldn't just, sweep everything under the rug. And it works. They get it to a degree. They're like, well, there were other things going on, and she's just like, still. So yeah, we get that. And then there's a massive roadblock in Alexander, is because he wants her to be comfortable, and he wants her to open up and tell him the things that she's doing, because he wants to be there by his side. And no one's going to go against him, because EJ may want to know things, but that's his brother, and he's not going to go against him. He's an alpha enforcer. If to go against him would be insane. And obviously the people who push back most against that are the McAllisters, because they want to be back in her life. But there's a lot of hurt in that family. So, and then obviously, you have Peter Kyle, who was family to Melanie, and she hates him. So that's obviously a big thing. She's also not happy with Chelsea. She is pissed at Dalton and Dakota. We haven't really seen her anger at Cooper, the youngest one. And that's something we will find out if she's mad at him or not. But there's also, we'll obviously first see her interaction with Ben McAllister and Nick Kyle. So we know from Ben that she wouldn't talk to him, but there's obviously more to it than that. So we will see. And there's also some of it immediately is going to have to come out, because you got a bunch of people running around a pack that know her face, because she saved them and sent them there. So you've got people running around multiple packs that can go, hey, you're Red One. Like, oh my gosh, you saved us. And then you've obviously got to have a conversation, because you're like, oh, by the way, yeah, I did do that. So yeah, it's just, there's a whole lot to unravel with that. So, will we see Charlie Rose in this book? I have a separate book for Charlie Rose and an outline for her. I don't know if she's going to be in this book so much. So there are obviously options and things, because Raphael was probably going to show up, so it means she'll probably be with him. So she might be in this book. I can't wait for all the turmoil. You're making me so excited. Yeah, it is a lot of turmoil. Will Melanie go through therapy like Haley, and will Haley be the therapist? Haley offers, and she also says that she might not be a person that Melanie is comfortable with because she is Alexander's mom, but she is fully honest about the fact that she has the ability to separate that. She always wants her kids to be happy, but Melanie is not standing in the way of Alexander's happiness. And also the fact that she does have a degree and she takes it very seriously. We've known that from book one, that she takes the oaths. She takes oaths very seriously. So it was very cutting to her when Catherine, talked about her medical history without her, because that's unethical. And Haley is very fair and not unethical. So she kind of leaves the decision to Melanie. There are other therapists in the pack. So we do see them bond though, and we will see what Melanie decides. Because Melanie does want Haley to like her. So, but they come from very similar places. So they do have a lot in common. And that doesn't necessarily sit well with anybody, really. Because on the one hand, you have the Hakura, Aiden, and even Eric himself a little upset because their backgrounds are very similar, except in Melanie was never raped, and that's because she can defend herself. So it's kind of a glaring, obvious thing. Like if Haley had ever been trained, it wouldn't have happened. She did what she had to do to survive. And so everyone, including Eric, is, they kind of go through a little bit of a annoyance with Aiden again. Because it's like, obviously, if she would have been trained, she could have been fine. And not even just in her powers, like in physical fighting. If she could have physically fought and been trained, you don't know what would have happened. So there's that side to it. And then there's, Alexander hates what she went through. He blames himself a little bit. And yeah, because there were forces at work against them from the start. And yeah, so him and Eric have some conversations, and he even has some conversations with Drake, because Melanie's not the only one upset with them. He's a little upset. And there's just, none of them planned for this friction between Aluna of their pack and Redrun, because everyone's like, oh, it's Melanie, so it's gonna be fine. But obviously that's not the case. There's a lot to work through there. There's a lot of anger on her part, and it's just because something wasn't real and it's not what it was portrayed to be, that doesn't make the hurt from that go away. It doesn't just disappear. The things that were said in specific people's handwriting, it doesn't take that away. It doesn't take it away that they never came for her. So that gives away a little bit when obviously they're going to catch up to Melanie and her friends, and to her, that was Alexander coming for her. And the family just happened to be there. So, they would have come for her, but they're with Alexander, so she knows why they came, and it's because of him. So there's a lot to unpack with McAllisters. Oh, they're in for a rough ride. Because obviously you have Sam, Drake, Tristan, and Jason specifically wanting to be in her life. And you have Mary Beth, Melinda, Ben, and Esther all wanting to be in her life. And they're met with strong resistance. So I'm glad you're going to let her work through her feelings. They all have feelings to work through. I've mentioned this before. Jason's got some stuff to work through, and he denies that for a long time. But Jason's also got a little bit of a right to be upset here, because she was manipulated. She was a kid. She was a teenager. But she believed that he said all these hurtful things to her. And that does hurt his feelings. So he's got some things to work through. Because that doesn't just go away. That your sister thought you that just because even if she was his half sister, that he didn't love her, that he would let someone treat her that way, when he had never done that. Like, he had never done that. So he has some stuff to work through. And obviously Jason and Melanie, there's a serious conversation that's got to happen there, because he now realizes that everything he was dreaming about, and that was like in his memories. So the vampires that helped do the compulsions did not know that Melanie saved him. So they didn't know to try to block those. So it's kind of like a gap in their compulsions, and that's why he's having nightmares and remembering those things. But now he knows that all that's real. So it's obviously upsetting to him. It's upsetting to her. And yeah, there's a big conversation about that. So yeah, there's a lot to unpack with the McAllisters, guys, and even obviously the Kyles and Melanie, because they are allies. So Melanie does not have the ability to hide her emotions like Haley does. Let's say that about that. So there are things that need to be resolved. So yeah, there's a lot to unpack with her, and there's a lot of anger there, and there's the fact that when you're dealing with the fact that somebody who is very influential to a group of people that is like not really known but's about to be, her not liking you is a problem, because that's a big group of people who probably don't like you now too. So she's got a lot of people that she doesn't necessarily realize are in her corner. She doesn't necessarily realize that how she feels influences how other people feel. So yeah, we've got that. We also do have the rebels are actually going to be around, obviously. So some interesting things happen at one of their sound checks, guys. And everybody, it's the first real time people see Melanie in action. So, because for specific reasons, people are on the outside of what is going on. We'll get to that. So yeah, that's a fun one too. Is their sound check. It goes awry, and then the girls are going to go out. That's going to go awry in a funny way, and also like you've got too many people in the same place kind of way. And then as I said, eventually Jason will meet his mate, and then there's his mating ceremony, and the question of whether or not Melanie will be there, and the question of whether or not she will be there in a tree or watching through a scope, or if she'll actually be in person. So yeah, there's lots with that. So much to unpack in this book. 22 days until vacation for you. Should we start saving up chapters now till you get back? So when I go on vacation, I'm not sure. The update schedule will probably be something like this week. Might be once, might not be at all. I'm really going to focus on editing chapters because I haven't been able to do that since I took over this stupid job. It's not mine. But also I am way behind where I plan to be at this point. So I might do an update or two. But the main focus is going to be editing. But like I said, 10:25, we're going to be back on track, people. It's happening. I'm determined. Because I'm going to tell my manager when she comes back that I don't care if this girl is coming back from whatever she is on, some type of leave. I'm going to join her if they don't take this job away from me, because they don't. She makes more money than I do. And I don't want to do it anymore. So I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. But that's how I feel about that. So Amanda is going to be so sad she missed this one, because I feel like I'm telling you guys a lot of things. But yeah, what else do we want to know? What else do we want to know? Because if I keep talking, I'm just going to keep telling you plot points in the book. Without telling you plot points in the book. Telling you but not telling you. That's where we're living today. Telling but not. I will say I came up with a new ribbon strand. I put that in one of the outtakes, but I came up with a new one where Blade feels compelled to go look for Haley and just see how she's doing, because that's who he is going to guard. He's a guard, and that's been his whole life. So Syrian and him go and find some fairies talking about it, and they don't like where it goes. Melanie shifting. How long do we have to wait? I feel like there will be jaws on the ground. There's lots of questions with that. So how long are we going to have to wait? Obviously, we know they still can't sense Bray at this point. Will anyone be around when that happens? Will there be something that they're all at that she shows up at? Will Alexander be there and, lose his mind? Because obviously, I will just say, when she does shift, things are not resolved with her family, and she would not want them there. So it would be her and Alexander. So is Alexander there, or is she shifting by herself? So I will say that doesn't happen until after she's at Black Mountain. So yeah, that's a whole other thing we gotta deal with. So yeah, that's a whole thing, guys. That's actually going to segue into, in this book. Here you go. Here's your tidbit, guys. That whole thing segues into a little bit of a Dylan chapter. We get a Dylan chapter because we're going to have a part where the big group is together in Blue Moon, and the two people we are following are not there, but we need to hear about that conversation. And I thought it would be fun to hear it from Dylan's side. So we are going to have a Dylan point of view chapter in this book. So where he basically gets to tell people things, and he loves to do that. So, and in his typical Dylan fashion, does what he does. So we will have, at a certain point, we will have a Dylan chapter. So there's a fun tidbit for the day, guys. You can all thank Marnie for this question that segued into that information. But that's where we're at. Yes. I'm really excited about this chapter. I'm actually really excited about a lot of the things that Dylan says when we catch up to where Cassie's book was, because obviously that situation needs some comedy into it, and Dylan is here for us, you guys. He's got things to say, so, and it's pretty funny. Not sure if it's been asked, but will they figure out the other side of the reason Alexander can't pop to Melanie other than the promise? It's not just him. But yes, eventually that does come out, not right away, but it's going to. We have the piece as the reader. The pieces of why are there. But yes, we will find out why. I will say eventually he can pop to her. But there are things in his way, and any other fairy's way. So, thanks for reminding me. Can he pop to Sierra if she is near Melanie? Yes. If they're not trying to pop to her, they could get closer to her. Is it the ring she wears around her neck? We will find out what it is eventually, at some point when she's at Black Mountain. When she's at Black Mountain. This is what I get for naming two packs, Black Mountain and Black Path. I keep interchanging them. But yes, they can pop to people with Melanie if they're not trying to pop to her. Have they figured that out yet? No. But they will. Okay. What else do we have? Any other questions, or do we want to? Oh, there we go. Is one of Melanie's powers that she can see through a fairy charm? She did it with Cassie and Alexander's bookshelf. It does seem to be lining up that way. Yes, it does seem that way. We will find out. But that will be another funny thing about the Rebel sound check. Because I will tell you, it is the sound check is in Yellow Hills, and as we know, there are multiple things hidden by fairy charms there. And she has a couple lines about just go there, and they're like, "There's nothing there," and she's like, "Literally, you're blind." So it's a little funny. Will Alexander become overprotective of Melanie? I mean, he already is to a degree. And well, that's the other thing. So obviously, with Melanie's return to Black Mountain, there's a lot of things like they obviously want to talk to her about, but at the same time, there's a lot of guilt felt about her and her situation by everybody. That's Black Mountain, Red Run, Blue Moon, Yellow Hills. Everybody feels guilty about it. So they're kind of like walking on eggshells around it. And she knows that. She knows that they're doing that. Yeah, she knows that they're doing it. So there's a certain aspect of guilt to it. And there's a certain aspect of everybody wanting to be protective of her because of what she's been through. Does she really let that fly? No, she doesn't. And her and Alexander talk about it because obviously he's the one that she is not going to, yell at for it. So, but he's an alpha and that's his mate. So, he will be protective of her. He already is. Will Melanie figure out she has been mind linking Alexander? She will find out. Eventually, yes. But they come up with a theory of why that's going on. They're wrong, but they come up with a theory. So. What else do we got? I can't have this here because I just play with it. Anything like in my reach, I have to play with something. I don't know why. But yeah. Oh, this book, you guys. When we get to it, it's gonna be so good. I had planned to be so much farther by now. Deeply upsets me. But we're gonna get through it. We're not gonna rush because there's a lot to get to. But we're gonna get through it. Will any of the Connors kids get their wings in this book or ever? Yes. Yes. We will see someone get their wings in this book. Actually, more than one, technically. It's complicated, but yes. So, that's fun. It's obviously not fun how it happens. Because obviously they have to be in some sort of emotional turmoil to get them. Money on Xander getting his. We'll see. We will see if he does. But any other questions, or are we done for the day? Does Emmeline have wings at this point? Yes. Yes, she does. I also have what they look like, so I could show you. Hold on, let me find the picture. I have the picture of what those look like. These are focus. They're blue. That's not coming through really well, but they're like blue with purple, and they look like a water fairy. But anybody else? Any other questions? Question. Who's got a question? I don't know if any of you, if your grandparents had you play button, who's got the button, but that's what I just imitated. Is Emmeline getting her wings an outtake, or will it be in a future book? It is in her kids' book. I hope your week goes well, and make sure you look after yourself. Thank you, Marnie. But yeah, Emmeline getting her wings is in one of her kids' books. Anything else, or are we done? Are we repping? Are we repping for the day? I will give it a few more minutes to see if we have more questions come in. If there are more questions, it's fine. You can ask them. I am here to answer your questions. I feel like I've mostly answered a lot of questions and a lot of not questions today. Just been telling all the things today. Will Lux find his mate in this book? I want to say no. I'm pretty sure it's a no. Pretty sure it's a no. If he did, it would be towards the end, but I think that is going to be in a different book. Will anyone else in the Rebels find their mate? Yes. Yes. Is Odette found later by Melanie? Yes and no. So, will they find Odette in this book or in Keaton's? Don't know if it will be in Keaton's or this one. See that word? Find. Yes and no. Yes and no. See, I have an email, but I don't have any. This thing likes to annoy me. That's kind of my conclusion. But yes, everybody just keep Odette in mind. She is around. She is important. But yeah, Odette's Odette. Her story is interesting, guys, and she's important to a lot of people. So Are Hendrix, I think that's in his Maiden and Mason chosen mates? No. It's been mentioned several times that they are fated mates. And that's why a lot of people are mad at the Alpha of Black Path for not allowing them to be warriors. Like, they were fated mates. And they treat them like dirt. But they're fated mates. So. But they stay. They could have left. They stayed because they felt they needed to stay, and then they obviously found that in Melanie. To get why her mom is moving Odette around, would that need to be an outtake request? If somebody requested that, I wouldn't write it because we will get to that answer. Yeah, we'll get to that answer. But part of it is that she's following her heart around to these relationships and focusing on that instead of her child. So she's following men around, and kind of, while that feeling in that moment lasts, that's part of it. But we will find out the other reason. And I will say that other part of that reason will make lots of people mad. Siren behavior. We'll find out. We'll find out what's going on with them. See, I don't like this. It tells me I have an email, but I don't see the new question. Is there a new question? Is it messing with me? I don't know. But, okay. We will give 60 seconds for more questions, and then we'll cut them off, and then we'll wrap when we get to the end of those questions. Does anybody have any final questions? Have a great week. I hope it's better than last week. And Joanne, me too. I hope you have a good week too. I swear, every time I say it would be hard for us to be worse than the week before, it gets worse, so I'm just not going to say that this time. Okay, 30 seconds. That probably gave more than 60, but whatever. Anybody? Bueller. I hope you have a better week. Thank you, Jamie. Me too. People could just get out of my happy space so that I can have my balanced life that I lead. And, because I think most people know, like, you have a job for, because you need one. Adulting is a trap, but we're all trapped in it. So I have my job because I have to have my job. But this is where my happy place is, and people need to get out of my happy space because this is what makes it all workable, and they're making a vital piece of it not work for me. So I'm going to need them to stop that. Yeah, I'll just tell them I'll stick a Facebook group on them. I'm going to stick my Patreons and Facebook group on you if you don't let me do what I want. I'm sure that would deeply confuse them. Will any of the other quads find their mates in this book? See, that's always a hard thing because they all have their own stories. That's not to say that they don't have their mates. We just haven't talked about them yet because I have books for the quads. So, yeah. Yeah. So there are things going on at the same time as all the other books, as we saw with like Emmeline's and Lexi's. Like, there are things going on at the same time. That's happening. That will happen in this book, multiple other books. So, yeah. Okay. We're gonna end. Happy Sunday, everybody. Crossing fingers for a better week. That's all we're gonna do. We're just gonna cross our fingers that it's a better week. Yeah. That's all we can do. That's what we got. That's what we're going to do. All right. I will talk to you all this week. I'll try not to pass out and leave you without word again. Yeah. Fingers are crossed, everybody. They are crossed. I had a goal of 4 updates last week. I think I'm just going to go with 2 is the goal, and just aim higher if I can. That's what we're going to do. 2 is the goal, and aim higher if I can. More is great. So maybe if I set my sights lower, I can reach my old goal. We'll see about that. But yeah, have a great week, everybody. I hope we all have a good week. I know when I posted venting stuff that several of you were also having a week, so I hope all your office and teaching things, teachers, you have my utmost respect. My sister and my brother-in-law are teachers, and I don't know how they do it. I went to visit her classroom once, and I said I would change my name because the whole time they were like saying her name the whole time. And I was like, it's like 18 people like yelling your name. And I was like, I would be like, nope, that's not my name, and I'm not telling you what it is today. That's probably why I was meant to be a teacher. That's probably horrible. But yeah, I will talk to everybody later, and I hope you all have a great week.